Hey, James Burke here. I hope you find this newsletter helpful. The main purpose for me is after doing this 27 years and just actually taking master's classes this year, I enjoy learning. I enjoy having conversations about human performance, how to improve it. And never would I say I have all the answers. In fact, the longer I do it, the less answers I have. And I guess, uh, greatest strength is curiosity or trying to find out more. So hopefully, this newsletter is something you'll enjoy looking at and learn from, something that I'll enjoy doing, and look forward to having any feedback or thoughts on how I can improve it and bring more valuable information to either you, the athlete, or you, the coach, or you, just the fitness enthusiast. And if you think it's good material, really appreciate if you share it with someone else. And I'll put my email up there as well so you can give me any insight on how I can make next month's better. Thanks a lot. I chose medicine balls, or I'll refer to it as MB on a lot of these slides, because I think it's an underutilized tool to develop power to transfer from the strength you gain in the weight room to on the field performance. It's just kind of low hanging fruit that I don't think is taken advantage of a lot, or it's misunderstood, or people don't really value them. I don't know, but hopefully after listening to this and considering some of the movements and training protocols, you might include it in the training of your athletes or yourself. It is. I'm always thinking budget because I've never. It's been a while since I've been in a school where I had a huge budget, so I'm always factoring that in. So medicine balls are relatively cheap. Recently, when we renovated our weight room, we purchased new medicine balls or wall balls because they're very durable. But an 8 pound medicine ball is $61. There is not a lot of other pieces of equipment you can buy for a weight room that you can get for $61. A pair of lockjaw collars is $40. So when you think about a big picture and your low budget, then it's a great training tool. And I'm sure you can get on Facebook Marketplace. Some get them cheaper than $61 as well. Multiple use and benefits, meaning kind of like a barbell. It's a tool, and how you use that tool. You can use that tool to build something up, break something down. Um, just like a barbell, a medicine ball can be used for a conditioning circuit, a metabolic circuit, um, a warm up. It can be used to develop power based on the weight. Could even be used to develop strength. It can eliminate, some of the eccentric portions, because that's a great thing. If someone was bench pressing and said, "Hey, go as fast as you can and release the bar," well, then you would never have deceleration, right? You would accelerate through the finish point, which doesn't happen with a barbell for safety reasons. But with a medicine ball, you can always accelerate through because you know you're going to release it. And since there's no eccentric portion of it, you can do it more frequently. You won't be sore. A lot of people incorporate it with game day lifts or movements because they know it's just concentric is the only portion of it. Little or no training background needed. I mean, it's like, hey, have you ever used a ball? You ever thrown a ball? Okay, well, you're well equipped to train with a medicine ball. I had a lot of success back in long term athletic development with fifth graders. We would had this program in my mind. It was kind of a Russian system. We were going to train them from the cradle to the podium. So we started using medicine balls in fifth grade and had a whole series of movements, usually about 20 throws a day. And they liked it. It was fun to them. We're just kind of tricking them into training. They're just throwing something heavy and thought it was neat. But I don't want to say older. I guess older is about perspective. Older people can use medicine balls. Uh, didn't put it on there, but man, the risk of injury is like really, really low. And all the years I've been seeing medicine balls, yeah, you could get hit with one, but then you're probably just not smart. So it's not a medicine ball issue. You don't have to catch it necessarily to avoid jamming a finger. You can just kind of either A, let it hit the ground before you retrieve it, or B, kind of knock it down to the ground. Versatility, you're only limited pretty much by your imagination. I think this past summer we probably did uh, over 30 variations or 30 movements, which keeps athletes engaged. Varieties of spice of life, and at the same time, um, you can make those different movements very applicable to the movements you'll do in your sport. Planes of motion, I don't think I've ever said with an athlete, today we're training in a transverse plane, tomorrow the sagittal plane. But the benefit of a medicine ball is over a barbell or dumbbell or other form of resistance is you can train in multiple planes of motion. I tend to use more. It's an upper push, it's a horizontal push, it's a rotational movement, but you're not limited with a medicine ball in what direction and what plane you can work. And then all the normal principles you would use for strength and conditioning when developing your program, they apply to medicine balls as well. So think progressive overload, think the actual load, have heavier medicine balls, work 8 pounds for a certain period of time, then bump up to 10 pounds. Velocity, can you measure it? You can, but a lot of you won't have the resources to be able to do that because, hey, today we're throwing it as fast as we can, or today it's heavier, so it's going to move slower. Volume, just total number of sets and reps. You can increase that as you go along in your program. Frequency of how many days per week you're using medicine balls, and complexity. Is it a basic static throw? Or are you adding a counter movement? That's probably where you can increase the difficulty of medicine balls the most. Is complexity, especially if you only have a certain pound of med balls because of budget and or storage, then that's not even an option for you. Specificity is a word that can elicit a lot of different emotions from people, but I would say with medicine balls, you can get some specificity because of the lack of limitations on range of motion and what you're able to do with it. The intent, I'm not going to talk a lot about metabolic circuit or general conditioning. Our intent, usually when we use a med ball, the intent is to throw it with maximum velocity, 100% effort. There is no dainty little soft medicine ball throws. We are always using them to develop power or rate of force development. Periodization, it could work in a linear method, high volume early on, low load, and then as you go through your linear periodization, you then would increase the load and the volume would go down. Or non-linear, you could have a day of medicine balls that's like a dynamic effort, then one that's a max effort, and then one that's a repetition. So it can fit into any kind of periodization model, just like it would with a weight room movement. So just like anything else, you'd want to test, you'd want to monitor if it's worth doing, it's worth measuring. So how do you measure with medicine balls? The most tried and true would be distance, tape measure. You're doing a granny toss, chest pass. Measure how far it lands. Problem is a lot of angle release will dictate how far it travels. So it's maybe not just power related, but technique related as well. You could use a radar gun, not very practical to have one of those, but I've seen people measure the speed with a radar gun, and then now VBT devices that you could. Some of them I've seen in the ball, some of them on the body, and then this video over here to the right. I'm excited about Output Sports. We're in the process of getting 20 sensors, not only for the barbell and VBT, but you can wrap it around your wrist. In this video, watch it, and it's a MMA fighter or a boxer doing a rotational medicine ball throw, and the VBT is on his wrist, and it gives him immediate feedback after every throw. And this man is discussing the optimal. I think it's a 10% velocity threshold drop off of that's how many reps he's going to perform until he reaches that threshold. So it's a whole kind of new world to me, the opportunity to measure the medicine ball throw instead of just saying, hey, throw it as hard as you can, throw with intent. Let's put something on it and measure it, and we can identify how the intent was. And I think there's other things you could do with it. Shot put, release, baseball swings, offensive lineman strikes. Can you accurately measure that and monitor it and move performance up because they know how fast they're moving? So now you're bought in, you got some medicine balls, you believe in the training, you think it's going to help your athletes. What does a progression look like for us? from simple to complex. So we start off static and using an example of a chest pass, no legs involved, just upper body. You're lined up 5 yards away, using both arms equal in a chest pass. 2 to 3 week cycle, increasing the volume as you go, and then you're going to add a lead in, meaning you can give them 1 step, you can give them 2 steps, you can give them unlimited, um, but they're gonna create higher velocities and momentum because they have a lead in. Isometric start. I haven't done a lot of these. I'm curious to see, and I've looked for research on it. But if you had a isometric hold, let's say a partner's in front of you and he's providing the like an equivalent of a wall. You could use a wall, and then you follow the isometric with a medicine ball throw. So a method of contrast training, reactive. So laying on the ground, and the partner drops it, and you're hot potato. You're getting it back up to them as high as you can. Combinations could be a broad jump into a chest pass, and then you can incorporate it in the weight room with a contrast, a heavy bench, followed by a medicine ball, chest pass, any of the varieties above, or you could plug it into a French contrast method because you can see the flow of simple to complex and how you could plug that into 4 week training cycles and your periodization model. You can plan for medicine balls and not just do the same thing for 3 or 4 months. There's a progression to it. And these videos, which you'll be able to play on your end, they're paused right now. I get that. But on the far left is just your most kind of generic grainy toss with a medicine ball. I like to think of like a hang clean outside, triple extension, ankle, knee, and hip, finishing tall. Arms are long and loose like ropes, going for height and or distance. When you're throwing it up against a wall, it's really more height. When you have a partner, it can look like a rainbow, height and distance. And then the middle video is a reactive granny throw where the partner is going to push down to create more of an eccentric or a stretch shorten, because that could be the question. Does plyometrics fall, or I'm sorry, does medicine ball fall under plyometrics? Well, if there's a stretch shorten cycle, amortization phase, then yes. So how can you enhance that? Well, you can enhance it with a reactive medicine ball throw, down fast, up fast, like the middle picture there. And then on the far right is a combination, is another way to enhance the eccentric component. So it's a depth jump. So you get the benefits of that plyometric with a medicine ball granny toss. So it's kind of this ultimate combination of a plyometric with a medicine ball, and would be at the complex end of it. And then you could also change the angle into a broad jump and the medicine ball more for distance. Again, you're only limited in your creativity or how specific it is to the movements that you're looking to improve. And to wrap up the medicine ball training kind of content or topic, on the left are 2 videos of combinations, how you can combine medicine balls with acceleration on the top video. And I like medicine balls on acceleration. I think it tells you a lot about how your hips are traveling based on where the medicine ball goes. Do they go down into the ground? You're stumbling, or does the medicine ball shoot straight up in the air? It's a good feedback tool. And then below, how you can combine a medicine ball movement with a plyometric. And then on the right is a great resource for medicine ball training. Got a ton of information on there that's helpful. Output created. It's about an hour long, but man, it is good stuff and goes deep. It's a deep dive into medicine ball training. Here are 3 recommendations I have on social media follows. They're just ways to get great information. Podcast Move the Needle by Mike Sullivan. I believe he's at Illinois State. Hunter Eisenhower at Arizona State. And they have a healthy resume. But, man, they put out some amazing content, bring in great speakers. It's one of those things, all these that I've listed here, I like thinking. I like being challenged in the way I think, as opposed to like a confirmation bias or echo chamber of always listening to the same things that you already know. um, this podcast is kind of, I turn it off and it makes me think, or I take notes. I'm like, hey, that's a good idea. And then bringing in great speakers. But that Instagram follow there, Coach, I want to say it right, Gebert, I believe it is what it is. And he was on the Move the Needle podcast as well. He's at Arizona. And man, just really enjoyed the content he put out with some deceleration work, plyometrics, contact prep. Just enjoyed the intensity and focus those guys were working with. Looking forward to seeing Arizona in the Big 12. I really haven't watched them that much since they were always West Coast or Pac 12, but now they're in the Big 12. Look forward to following them. I think they're picked pretty high in the Big 12 football conference this season. But easy follow, man, putting out tons of content all the time and did a great job on the podcast as well. And then at the bottom on Twitter, I guess, which is X now, but Donnie Thompson, man, just not only content but products. We're big fans of Body Temperin, which he came up with, the fat pad, the bow tie for shoulders. If you just think of a 3,000-pound total power lifter, and one of two humans to ever do it, and then he played football professionally, what a banged up body he must have. And he's coming up with these methods and tools to alleviate some of the pain and to keep moving. He's still training. He's probably, I don't know, lost up to 100 pounds or more now. So he's funny. It's lighthearted. It's funny, but great content. So those are my three recommendations this month to follow. That, and if you have some, send them my way as well. Or if you want to be mentioned on here, I'll check you out and would love to look at content that makes you think and is well prepared. Well, if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Thanks for listening, or I hope you learned something. And I welcome feedback. That's how we all grow and get better. Whether it's on content, you like the content, or there's something that you want to learn about in a future newsletter. Was it too long? Was it too short? Did the lighting in the background suck? Do I need an AI robot for my voice because you don't like listening to it? I'll continue doing it because I enjoy it, and maybe my mom will watch it and learn something about medicine balls. If you know someone that might be interested in this content or getting this newsletter, then please share this link with them. I'm looking to grow it and have conversations about how we can push human performance and help those that we work with. Thanks a lot.